Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back once again to Fat Cat Collection. Today I want to do a quick discussion video about the Lexani wheel brand. Now, I did another video like this previously, and I want to come back and just kind of reshare my story. So you guys, if you've been following my videos for a while, you guys know I'm a huge car guy. Although I don't collect cars like I do watches, because cars are expensive, and of course I'm out of room where I live, where we're only allowed to have 2 cars in the driveway at any given time. I do have 3 in my lineup, and each one of those vehicles I've customized. Now, I don't customize a car kind of like, you know, to make it show car quality. My cars are driven daily, you know, depending on the time of year, and they get used. But I am really anal about taking care of anything that I own. And my cars are absolutely, you know, immaculate for the most part. You know, my Honda is a 2000. It looks, you know, I mean, it's going to have its normal tattoos and war wounds and scars, that kind of stuff. Over the years, you know, you get little dinks here and there. The hood does need a fresh coat of paint, which I'll tackle a little bit down the road. But for the most part, everything about the cars, I would say, is a good 95%. You know, whether it be my Jaguar, my Solar is probably closer to like 98%. So, I mean, they get used, but I do take care of them. You know, they get their detail every year. Just give you guys a little bit of my, you know, kind of my level of cleanliness and care. You know, the wheels and tires come off the car every single year. I detail the undercarriage. I repaint. The Honda is the one that gets a little bit of the brunt of the abuse because it's driven in the wintertime. So that one, usually there's a lot more repainting underneath. And I don't go crazy, but I make sure that the car looks as if it's getting ready to be sold. You know, when you go to a car in a lot, generally they're all detailed, looking clean. The fender wells are nice and squeaky clean. Struts are all shined up. And so I try to make them, again, as clean as possible. So, again, the reason I'm mentioning this is because I really maintain my cars. One of my vehicles is a Jaguar S-Type, and I do have some Lexani wheels on that car. And I just want to give you guys a little bit of my story with this. I've put chrome wheels on every car that I've owned, whether it be or wheels on every car I've owned. The 73 Chevy, I had aluminum wheels on them. Or like a clear coat aluminum. We're going to talk about that a little bit too, about the finishes. Then of course on every car after that I've had chrome, with the exception of my Honda, which this last year I did put a set of, I don't know if they're powder coat or just they're like a machined, painted, basically painted wheel that's got a machined clear coated face and lip. So they were really inexpensive. They were made by a company called, what the hell's the name of the company? Strata. So, you know, pretty inexpensive. And I've spent quite a bit of money on wheels over the years. I am always going to be a chrome guy. I tend to gravitate more towards that look. And, you know, with chrome wheels, there is kind of a little bit of a cost to that. You know, depending on where you live and your climate, chrome on aluminum, which is pretty much 90% of the wheels out there, unless you go with something that's a wire wheel, which is made of steel, you're going to have chrome on aluminum. Now, chrome doesn't want to stick to aluminum, so in order to get chrome to stick, they have to layer different types of metal and materials in order to get a surface that will stick to chrome. And I don't know exactly the process and how they do that, but I know, for instance, and you can look this up, and I didn't look it up prior to the video, but basically, chrome won't stick to the aluminum, so they find something that will stick to the aluminum, and then of course something else stick to that surface, and then of course you get to the point where chrome will stick. The only issue with that is that it's just not quite the same as chrome being applied to steel. It bonds to steel really well, and unfortunately when you're looking for most custom wheels out there, they're going to be aluminum. So that's the downside to chrome. If you go with something like powder coating, you're going to have a surface that's really, probably in my opinion, the best type of finish for any kind of wheel or anything subjected to the elements. Paint is good too, but you know, I feel like wheels kind of get a little more abuse than your body does on the car. So powder coat's a great way to really get a wheel that's going to last a long time. Now, not all wheels come powder coated. A lot of them do come painted, but you just don't get the look you get with chrome. Now, that is subjective. Not everybody likes the same things. Again, I am a chrome guy. They're just putting, for example, my original wheels on the Honda were a set of 18-inch Antero wheels. Those wheels that car had on rain or snow. So about 10 years I got out of those wheels before they started to develop, and a few sets of tires, before they started to develop chrome flaking on the inside of the bead. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of pitting on each wheel, but you know, the wheel still had a lot of life left to them. Unfortunately, it's really hard to find places that'll re-chrome a wheel. I still haven't been able to find one. I got a lead the other day that I'm going to look into that for, you know, the future. They're such beautiful wheels. They were not cheap. And again, back in '99, you know, a set of Antares were in 18s were extremely expensive. We didn't have, you know, 24-inch wheels, and even 20s you rarely saw. So 18s were kind of like the wheel to have. It was the big boy. Now, I paid about $6.50 a rim for a set of Antares. They're made in Italy, and I will tell you that my experience with them, were one of the best wheels that I ever owned. Granted, we did have some flakage in the chrome, but it took a really long time and a lot of really poor weather elements, you know, sand on the roads, you know, salt, you know, de-icer, winter, rain, all that stuff is really, you know, it's tough on wheels, right? And so they lasted a really long time, and I really can't complain. One day, hopefully, I'll find somebody to re-chrome them. Now, since then, I've gotten other wheels. I've had a set of 20-inch not the Corsas, the 20-inch Incubus lures. Still a great wheel. Again, pretty decent chrome finish. I hadn't had any problems with the chrome. They were on there probably about, say maybe 4 years before I actually went on the freeway, and there was a huge pothole I couldn't avoid, and I ended up bending one and cracking the other. Luckily, the tire shop that I use, Discount Tire, they were able to send that wheel off multiple times, have it re-welded, because I've been a pretty good customer. They didn't charge me for that, but they did have to send it out of state to do that. Finally, you know, my contact left there. They weren't going to keep doing that because it did cost them a couple $100 by the time we send it off and have it fixed. Finally, I went to something different. I went to an 18, what's the brand on that one? An 18-inch wheel. I forget. I'll put the name of the wheel in the description. And honestly, really crummy wheel. The chrome was flaking off within the first year on different spots. You know, just not a good quality wheel. Now, mind you, there was a huge price difference between the Antares, the Incubus, and the other wheels that I've had on the car, the other chrome wheels. Huge price point. $600 for a set of 4 versus $650 for one rim. The Incubus lures were probably about $230 a rim. So in some cases, sometimes, you know, I don't like to use value, but you do get what you pay for. Now, with that being said, I have a set of De Corsa Polaris 5s on my Solara. I've had them on there for 14, 15 years now. Flawless, just like the day I got them, flawless. Now again, remind you, those two cars really don't see the elements. You know, they're in a heated garage about 75% of the year. They get driven 3 months out of the year during the summertime, and they see very little rain or water. Now, let's get to that. Let's get to the Lexanis. Now, Lexanis, you know, boast themselves as being a super high quality wheel. You know, Lexani's always at SEMA show. When you think of the different wheel manufacturers out there, there's a lot of them. But we think of like the big players. We really, I mean, my mind automatically goes to like this Lexani, Giovanni. Those brands are really some of the big boys out there. And you expect a certain level of quality when you pay a premium for a Lexani wheel. So I did a video maybe a few months ago about my Lexani wheel. I had a problem. This one's on the Jaguar. I had a problem with the tire leaking air. Mind you, these tires and wheels only have probably max 3,000 miles on them. The car is hardly ever driven, and there's really no excuse for having any kind of problems, you know, with this setup. So I was having a little bit of a slow leak, and what had happened over time is that the tire, you know, with low profile tires, they're not meant to be ran with zero air, and over time, having the car sitting in the garage, you know, not realizing that the air pressure started to drop. I take it out, drive it, realize it, you know, put air in it, but over time, that little bit of extra wear destroyed the tire, you know. And so what had happened was the inside of the bead started to shave the tire, and then it didn't really want to hold air. It had one little spot that developed where it just wouldn't hold that air. So Discount Tire was nice enough to comp me on a, unfortunately, mixed match tire, but the tread pattern is so close, I really have to point it out to you for you to notice the difference. It sucks, you know, especially guys like me who are just like really, you know, meticulous about things. But it is what it is. The other tires are like brand new, so I didn't want to spend, you know, an extra $600 just because the tires are mixed matched. So not a huge deal. I'm really happy they took care of me on it. But let's get to the problem with the wheel. So taking the wheel off, we found that this brand new chrome wheel, and even the discount tire guy was like, I said, you know, be really careful. I don't want any scratches, any nicks. I took pictures of everything because I have had bad experiences with people in the past. He says, yeah, man, I mean, the inside of the wheel had like no dirt on it. I mean, he said, this thing looks like it came out of the box brand new, you know. So taking the tire off the car, realizing that the inside of the bead had started to rust and flake in a few spots, which is completely unacceptable for a wheel that has been sitting in the garage, hardly even being used. Like I said, when I got the car, I got the car with, I think, 112,000 miles on it. Since I got the car back in, I've had it about 7 years now. The car has 15,000 miles, 116,000 miles now. So hardly any usage of those tires and wheels. Again, maybe been in the rain once. Really no excuse. If you look at my wheels, the inside, you could, I mean, the inside, the back of the wheel is as clean as the face of the wheel. So they are absolutely brand new, almost out of the box wheels. And there's really no excuse for a company like Lexani to produce something that's already causing problems with zero use. Or hardly any use. So what I did was I actually posted a comment on one of the Lexani YouTube channel videos, and I was pretty surprised they got right back to me. He said, you know, and they said, you know, can you explain further? And I said, not a problem. I'll send you an email. This has been a couple months now, and I sent them an email to their customer service department. I sent them all the documented pictures from the tire shop showing the damage to the wheel. It's probably just something that I got a bad one. Hopefully the other ones aren't like that. But here's the problem with companies like this. You pay a real premium, and there is no service after the sale. And that's why when you guys see me do a video, whatever product it is, most recent product comes to mind, Craft Holsters. This is a company that takes care of the customer after the sale. Now, granted, I am in a collaboration agreement with them. You know, we work together. They send me holsters, but they went ahead and remade a holster 3 times because the factory just couldn't get it right. And I was even like, hey, we don't need to keep doing this. I already put up the video. These things happen, but they still want to go above and beyond. The customer service aspect of a company like this is amazing, and I'll tell you, companies like this are few and far between, and a lot of times you'll get one great contact at a company, and once they're gone, their customer service goes with it. Hopefully that never happens to a company like Kraft. Hopefully that is their business model. But with a company like Lexani, you know, I'm sorry, but when I look around my town, I don't see many dudes rocking Lexani, you know. And, you know, granted, depending on where you live, car customization may not be as huge. I think that car customization has kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit. Again, California, place like that, not really the case. But when I'm driving around, generally my vehicles are the ones with those big flashy chrome wheels. I don't see a lot of other cars that really draw me in personally, you know. So I think Lexani should want to take care of their customer on this. Now I do understand that wheels do have usually a 1-year manufacturer's warranty, but this is kind of a special case. This car has been sitting in the garage, hardly any miles on the darn thing. So that's something very easy to prove from when I bought the wheels with the documented mileage on the car from Discount Tire, and of course where it's at now, right? So absolutely unacceptable to have chrome flaking on the inside of the bead, and that's not even really you know, being subjected to the elements. Now keep in mind, when you do put air under pressure, water is created in that, water vapor. So naturally, I would assume the inside of your wheels are probably always a little bit damp. That was the cool thing about nitrogen, when you could find it in different places. Discount Tire stopped carrying nitrogen, is that nitrogen is a drier air with a larger molecule. So I think it's a lot better for the overall longevity of your wheels, whether you're having this problem or not. Moisture is kind of, you know, it's not good for anything, you know, for any painted surface. Excess moisture, plants, and, you know, you name it, excess moisture is usually not a good thing in most things. So, you know, that was a pretty cool thing to have, and I'll have to shop around and see if anybody else has nitrogen. You know, you don't have to pay to have it filled. You know, I'll do that. But anyway, you know, long story short, again, being ignored by Lexani. I'm going to send them another email today. I'm putting up this video. But I would strongly encourage you, you know, if you're going to, you know, when you buy a wheel, you know, a lot of companies kind of reproduce other companies' brands. For instance, like my Lexanis, when I bought those, they were the only brand that had a wheel that looked like that, the R5s, or the R4s? I think R4, I think. I forget. You know, and since then, there's a couple companies who make basically clones of them, those rims. Remember, you know, when you clone a wheel, there's always little subtle differences, but you can usually find a wheel that's pretty similar. I paid a premium to go with Lexani, mainly because at the time those other ones weren't around, of course, but I would have went with Lexani anyway because I had this perception that this was a high quality brand, and so far I'm just not impressed. You know, these were not cheap wheels. In today's day and age, if you go price shopping what chrome wheels or any wheels cost, you could spend more, you can spend less, but there's a lot of really great deals out there that you could find on wheels. If I'm going to buy a set of wheels that are going to have inferior chrome plating, then I could just go buy a cheapie set off eBay next time. So I didn't do that. I went paid a premium for Lexani, and I'm extremely disappointed with their brand, with their lack of customer service, with their ignoring of the customer. And you know, I like putting up videos like this when this happens because it tells my story. My channel has a little bit of power. I say that very loosely because there's huge channels out there, but in time, you know, I don't let anything go. And if I feel like I've been wronged by somebody or a company, I will never ever let it go until that wrong is made right. And I feel like with these, this is a car, I mean, again, you could call this, even though this car is not show quality as far as being able to win any kind of like super, you know, luxury awards or anything like that, just because it has little nicks here and there, and you know, it's an older car. But you know, this car is treated like a show car, you know, and when guys have show cars, they're generally in temperature controlled environments. You shouldn't have to replace wheels for a car that's sitting in the garage 99% of its life. What's the point of even putting wheels on it then, you know, if you're going to have to replace them? I get, you know, chrome is not the most durable thing out there, but you shouldn't have that on a set of wheels that's babied. You know, in this case, you know, this wheel could be sitting in the box, and you know, who knows when I got this wheel what I should have thoroughly inspected to make sure that there was no imperfections in that chrome. And lesson learned, no matter what brand you go with, whether it has a reputable brand or not, things can happen, and I strongly encourage you to inspect your wheels. Perfect example is the new wheels I got on my Honda. I ended up getting one of the wheels. I inspected each one of those wheels, and I did find a gouge in the inside lip. Luckily, the eBay seller was nice enough to go ahead and take care of me on it, you know, which otherwise I would have put in a claim. They did drag their feet a little bit, but ultimately they did take care of it, and they did let me keep the old wheel, which, you know, I mean, in a pinch, it could be used. It's a cosmetic thing. I was able to put a little bit of nail polish on it, and now I have a backup. You know, God forbid I crack a curb or hit a, you know, something happens, you know, ice, who knows. But it's nice to have a little bit of a backup. But it is becoming increasingly difficult to find wheels for that car. So again, glad I have it. But that's you know, if you have something that happens like when you buy from an eBay seller or Amazon, they'll take care of you on it right away. But after the fact, like this, where you don't realize there's a problem brewing, definitely inspect your wheels when you get them. Make sure there's no blemishes, no issues, because really it's just unacceptable to have this kind of situation. And I suspect that probably the surface wasn't prepped properly when they were chroming this, and that's why we have kind of what I would call a little bit of a hot spot where now we're developing some rust. And if you have rust that develops on the inside of the bead and that chrome eventually completely flakes off, I know it doesn't seem like much, but when you have that little bit of elevation difference between the chrome and the actual surface of the wheel, it's not going to be able to hold air. You know, it's going to leak on you. So, and then you're going to be out a set of rims when really only one of them may have been bad. And the problem with this stuff is that they discontinue wheels. So, in time, you may not be able to find them. You know, if money's not an issue and you actually absolutely find a set of wheels that you completely love, for instance, my DeCorsa Polaris 5s. Hindsight, I probably should have bought 2 sets of those. But then again, you're looking at an extra $1,200, $1,500 at the time, closer to $1,600 actually. You know, but it would have been nice to have a set on backup because once they stop making them, they're gone. And you know, luckily with 5-lug cars with 5-lug bolt patterns, you're probably not going to have that issue. You'll always be able to find some kind of wheel that you'll like. But when you get an issue like my Honda, they're using 4 on 114.3. You know, that's a pretty dated bolt pattern. And as time goes on, these cars become older and older, and less guys are doing them up. They're not customized anymore. There's not many of them left that are in good condition because a Honda's not like, you know, it's not like a Corvette or Ferrari that you're going to get and baby and somebody's going to really hold on to and cherish it forever. Most of the Hondas that you're going to see are young kids doing up. And you know, older guys too, of course, but you know, generally they kind of have their life, and then people don't really hold on to things. We live in a very disposable society. Most people don't keep their cars 20 years; they rotate their cars. Whereas me, I'm never getting rid of any of my cars. They're part of my collection. I enjoy them. I'll always fix them when something goes wrong. Nice thing, I can fix a lot of the things on them within reason, you know. So, you know, I really appreciate the cars. It just really sucks that you have an idea in your head with a certain look, and now you can't find wheels. So after this set of 17s that I had to put on the car because you couldn't find 18s, you know, I probably will never be able to find a set of wheels as time goes on here, because they're, I mean, I shit you not, when I've looked like 2 years ago, I could find all kinds of 18s, you know, again, not the 18s I really wanted, but there were some options. This time, I didn't even need wheels. My other 18s in chrome are totally fine, brand new tires, and I said, you know, I better get something now, because if I don't, I'm not going to be able to get wheels, and I'm going to have to go back to 15s, and it's going to be a stock driver then. So, you know, I didn't really want that. So just kind of keep that in mind when you are shopping for wheels. If you do have any questions whatsoever, don't hesitate to ask. You know, I don't have experience at every brand out there, and, you know, there is some element of luck, too, when it comes to all brands. But I will say to not have an expectation with a company like Lexani when they're not even going to take care of the problem. I mean, not even the common courtesy of a reply email. That's pretty sad. So, lesson learned, I'll never buy another set of Lexani wheels. There's too many other options that are a lot more affordable. And, you know, let me know if you guys had a good or bad experience with the brand. You know, the information is powerful. You know, spending money on wheels is a lot of money, especially when you're buying a set of Lexanis. You know, I've always had good luck with Anteras, but they're getting harder to find in the United States as well. But I would highly recommend a set of Anteras if you can get them. Again, it depends on, you know, your style and, you know, your budget, of course. But, you know, paying a premium for Lexani to me just isn't worth it. So, anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I do appreciate taking time to watch the video. Hopefully, you know, hopefully the problem doesn't get any worse. Time will tell, because I do really like the way the wheels look on the car. But nice thing about the Jaguar is I'll be able to find wheels easier than the Honda, but it's still a 5-on-108. It's still not a super common bolt pattern. So time will tell. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate you always taking the time to watch me. Again, any questions, fire away. Have a great day. Subscribe to the channel, and take care.